Financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Franti.
Right now, you should be getting online so you can watch our show because Lisa looks so beautiful today. She's dressed up our custom-built studio here at the Vault Media Studio. And you can get online at donandgino.com, DONANDGINO.com. Click on the live streaming button. Yeah, that's the ticket. And we have 3 cameras on us, and Furman's trying to make us look good. I think he's going to put all the cameras on Lisa, though, and that'll help our show look that much better. Thanks for joining us, Lisa.
Thank you.
And we see you at Afterburn Fitness all the time. There's a theme, I know, in our show. You hear about how many, but that's true dedication. When people can, take the time and effort to take care of themselves, they're going to take the time and effort to take care of you as well. And thank you for being on our show again.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Always. You always have great advice because estate planning is something that a lot of us hide from, don't realize the value of, and you always enlighten us. In fact, I know you're helping now, Gina and I, with our personal trust. You're helping with some business set up and all kinds of stuff because you do so much for so many people.
Yeah, we like what we do.
All right. So as a trust attorney, why don't we start off with a few of the areas that you can help others with, and then we'll dive into 2 direct issues, which is some real estate and some business areas that you can help a lot of people with. So give a brief overview of what you and your partner, Claudia, as in your mom,
Yep.
do for so many people.
Well, so we have a very active transactional practice, which means that we are not really court lawyers. We spend most of our time writing contracts and or estate plans. So we do a lot of corporate work, a lot of company setups, LLCs, corporations, even sole proprietorships. We help with the filings that need to be made. We also do real estate work, whether that's purchase and sale agreements for commercial properties. We do some residential stuff as well, usually when it's going awry.
Yeah. You don't want to hear that,
no,
when you're involved in a residential one, you're like, uh-oh.
So someone's in trouble usually. But not always. Sometimes people want to do a for sale by owner and they don't want to use a real estate agent for whatever reason. So we get involved with that. We do a ton of commercial leasing, retail space, industrial space. We do a lot of leasing work, which I really like. And then we also do, we have a significant estate planning practice, which includes trust administration and probate. Although it is our goal at McDowell Odom to avoid probate.
You heard that right here, avoid probate.
At all costs.
It's simply just so awful that we try to help our clients avoid it, but sometimes it's unavoidable, so we do handle those. And then just drafting your basic estate planning documents, whether it be for a family who needs a trust or just a will, or maybe they just need powers of attorney or advanced healthcare directives. Frankly, I would argue that probably almost every human being over the age of 18 needs a power of attorney and advanced healthcare directive.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't want to spend too much time on that because that's not what we're going to talk about today, but you may not know that you don't necessarily have power over your spouse or your parents or your children if they're over 18 when you're at the doctor's office. And if they're incapacitated and they need your help to make a decision, you're not legally allowed. And you know who makes that decision for you? Is the doctors. That's the last thing you want, is some random doctor that doesn't know your family to just start making arbitrary decisions on behalf of your child or your grandparents or your parents.
Or you could have to be forced into court under something known as a conservatorship, which is, if probate is bad, conservatorship, I would argue, is worse.
So, I didn't know there was worse.
Yeah, it's worse, and it takes a lot of money and a lot of time. And in fact, we have a client coming in the next week with this issue. An elderly man, doesn't have any estate planning documents, very wealthy, nothing in place, and has had a heart attack and is suffering and is in the hospital, and the family can't access anything because he's a very private man. This happens a lot. We have clients who are very private, and all of a sudden now we have a big issue and we have no way to get access. And whether he even has capacity at this point to sign the documents is in question. So in order for the family to step in, if he doesn't have capacity, they will have to go to court and file for conservatorship.
Oh, my goodness. Hopefully you're tuning in. We're here with Lisa Odom with McDowell Odom, LLP, Attorneys at Law. Basically a trust attorney and so much more, business attorney and estate planning specialist. And you always give us insights of what we don't know. Because you always hear about the nightmares, and a lot of times it's because somebody didn't prepare. Somebody did not plan. And nobody can plan for an accident or an unfortunate heart attack. I mean, we just had a friend that had a stroke and died at 49. You know, and you're like, that's awful. And his wife is absolutely host because, and I have to say that word because no life insurance, no estate
my
planning
God.
documents, no nothing.
Wow.
Evidently thought he was going to live forever and just had a random stroke, and now she has no way to access any of it. It's just a nightmare, and if he would have spent a very little amount, it's very little. I mean, we're doing our estate planning with you. It's very affordable, and I'm going to be very comfortable knowing that, God forbid, something happens to either myself, my spouse, either myself or our siblings, and everybody else will know exactly what to do
Exactly.
and how
You know,
it's going to be
just
handled.
a very small example of that, right? You take this 49-year-old, and if he would have had a trust and life insurance in place, total cost of that package over the last 20 years, for argument's sake, let's say $2,000, then 4, I don't know, maybe for $20,000 or so, he could have left a trust in place, and he could have left $1 million to his wife and kids when he passed.
Yep.
For $20,000. I mean, what a safety net that would have been.
And it's being unselfish by not paying that. You're actually being selfish, not preparing. Because I know, if, God forbid, something happened to me, my spouse would be going, "Ooh, what's going on with all this stuff?" Because I handle it all right now.
Right.
But at least stuff is in place to help with that and help protect her in case something happens. Because stuff happens every day.
Every day.
Yeah, you know, we have, we were out at the beach this weekend, and, one of the parents we were with was panicking about her daughter being in the water. And I was like, you should really be much more afraid of when you drive her to school, because the chances of somebody drowning here is very minimal compared to somebody being in a car accident on their way to school. Happens every single day.
Very
Super
Especially
simple.
with texting these days.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, you hear about that all
Very
the time.
true.
So we have a couple of topics we're going to talk on the last segment. So I don't want to. So to close out this segment, give us an idea for a simple trust. What kind of random, basically a estimation of cost and time. Get
So
that
normally for a family who it's a married couple with married couple with just one property, we typically charge $2,250, and it's payable in installments, so it's not as much of a burden usually. And then for a single person, it's usually $1,750. Again, that's for only one property, and if you have a business or real estate, additional properties, we might have a slightly higher fee, but that's an approximation. So.
Well, that makes sense because now you're protecting even more.
Exactly.
Exactly. Because you don't want to go to probate, right?
No, you should avoid it at all costs. It really sucks.
All right. So there's a theme with all the attorneys we bring up. We just had Jim Reap with Reap Rickett. Actually, we had David Rickett,
We have
too.
David Rickett.
Both
Yep.
of those guys had the same thing. Stay out of court. You'd think that, I know it is, Shark Tank week.
Yeah.
And you think that's all the lawyers want to do is take you to court and run up your money. But it's funny, the really good lawyers that want to do good for their clients don't want you to go to court because it's costly, it's an emotional drain, it's timely. Nothing really good comes out of it.
No, and then, I think Jim and David both brought up the same point, is that you're looking at a judge to make a decision within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
On what's going to happen for the rest of your life. And that's, you don't want that minimized down to 10 minutes. If you prepare, we've gone over, you've already spent at least 3 hours with me getting to know me and my trust.
Right, absolutely.
So that's already, a ton more time than anybody would ever take in court.
All right. So you're going to get more great information right here on the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show with Lisa Odom with McDowell Odom, LLP, Attorneys at Law, giving you great tips to protect you and your family. Don't go away. We'll be right back.